everyone, it's Jo back from Black Gold Alchemy. Thank you for joining me today. We're just going to have a kind of quick update as to where we are astrologically and energetically. Also going to be posting down in the description the latest 5 asteroids, or what comes under the umbrella term asteroids, in the description box below. So if you've been following my July asteroid series, you'll be able to read the most recent 5 that I've posted on my Facebook page down in the description below. We're also going to do a live card draw from a beautiful Lemurian deck, just to have a look at what energy wants to come through and speak to us today, going forward for the rest of the week. So just a quick catch up where we are. Well, we'll start with good old Pluto. We're starting to come now very close to the end of the 6-week period where it lies at the final degree of Capricorn in retrograde motion. And if you've been following my videos, you'll know this was a period I highlighted as going to bring up a lot of things for the collective to see. So it went back into Capricorn, if you remember, on June the 11th. So we're coming close towards the end now of a kind of around about a 6-week period where this was going to intensify a great deal. Now, it will continue to retrograde back in Capricorn for the rest of the year. So it will shift back before we get back to the 29th degree when it moves forward again. So we will have another period, or in fact a couple more periods before the end of next year, where we're in this 29th degree of Capricorn with Pluto. So it won't be the last we see of this energy, but I think after all the things that have come up for us in the last few weeks, since mid-June, is a lot to process. We've been shaken up with the intention, of course, always to transform for the good and to shake out the old ways that we cannot simply take forward into the new world that we're moving into. And as discussed previously in other videos, the outer planets are in alignment in many ways between this year and 2026 to shift energies in a very big way. So this year and, well, next year, to be honest, are going to still be eye-opening, transformative, and a little bit challenging. But I feel like next year, although it will be still a pivotal year, will perhaps certainly not be any more challenging than what we've seen so far this year. But the good news on the horizon is that Pluto finally moves into Aquarius without retrograding back into Capricorn in November next year. And that will be a very big shift with a very positive impact. We will still have things come up. We will still have opportunities for transformation, of course, always. It's part of the human journey. But I feel like the worst of what's coming to the surface will have come for us to see, observe, and understand, and gain a new understanding, and hopefully a compassion, not just for ourselves but for others. It's a challenging time, and we're often faced with difficult issues and difficult encounters with others, as well as just general things in the world, and it can shake us up. It can be very hard to initially accept some of the things that we're seeing, but these things have to come up. They have to be seen, because we cannot keep them buried any longer. Many of these things have been buried for years and centuries and even millennia, and so they're coming up to be seen. So we have to also remember how brave we are to have chosen to incarnate on the planet at this time. We came here for a reason, and now it's time, if we feel to, and we feel confident in our ability to do so, we step up and put our hand up and volunteer to be very much a part of this process. The other thing, of course, in the last couple of days is the Sun has moved into Leo, which in many ways initiates the opening of the Lion's Gate period. The Lion's Gate is associated with the 8th of August, 8/8, of course, But once the sun moves into Leo, we tend to find it's almost like the door is being gradually opened. We're building up to that date. I think these gateways or portals or whatever you wish to call them are becoming more significant and stronger. So this Leo one will be very interesting. We'll have to see what happens, but nothing to be scared about, of course. But whatever comes up will be ultimately for our benefit, and what for each of us what we need to actually see and witness and have a look at. And the other big thing that's happened this week, of course, all over the weekend, is Venus going retrograde, which she does about every 18 months, so not too frequently. And she will be retrograde for a few weeks into September before going into forward motion again. Now, traditionally, with Venus ruling obviously love and romance, but also money, we can see some issues around those things coming back up. It's commonly thought to be the time when ex-partners, for example, and former relationships tend to come back into our thoughts, or perhaps somebody gets back in touch with us, or we with them, just for us to have a look at the energy between ourselves and another person, perhaps finally to put the memory of that relationship to bed with gratitude and thanks for what it showed us and what it brought us, and the lessons that we may or may not have learned tend to come back into focus. In terms of finances, nothing super big to worry about really. It's just sometimes finances can just go through a little wobbly, brief period. For example, if we were expecting some money to come through, maybe it'll be delayed, or may not. I mean, it depends on each individual situation. But Venus in retrograde is also a time for us to reflect on where we are and how far we've come. But it also, of course, is associated with our value system. And I think with the global events that we're seeing at the moment, our value system is being questioned. We're being asked to feel into many different beliefs that we have around many different collective things and personal things. So this is a time to reflect on that and feel into how we really feel. I had a very good example recently where this summer certain events in one country were bringing up a certain feeling and emotions within me, and now I'm shown something happening in another country which is of the same kind of energetic expression, where I'm feeling that I'm seeing the other side of it, and I'm like, okay, so this is interesting. So what really do I need to reflect on here? How do I actually feel? Because in one situation I felt this way, and in a similar situation I felt the opposite. So what's that all about? And of course the answer ultimately is that we come back to the middle, to unity consciousness. So that's something for me to personally look at. So you might find that kind of thing coming up for you now with Venus in retrograde. But it is a good time, like all retrogrades, for some reflection. And that includes Pluto retrograde at the moment too, of course. So that's currently what's going on. And like I said, I'll put the latest 5 asteroids that I've delved into in this month of July down into the description. So that just leaves a quick card draw for the energies of this day, and let's say the week going forward. So what does the Lemurian wisdom want to show us collectively at the moment? So this could be a personal message for you, or it could be one that makes sense for what you're seeing out in the collective world. So just focusing on the Lemurian connection, the ancient pre-Atlantean wisdom of the Lemurians. Okay. Okay, so that kind of makes sense with the with what I was just talking about with the retrograde period. I'm sorry, that's backwards, but that's the surrender card. And that's probably a good energy for us to be in just now while Venus is in retrograde. Just surrender to what's going on. For sure, you can think about it and feel into what's going on for you personally and in the world. And you might find some of your thoughts and beliefs around certain things personally and collectively is being redefined. And hopefully this period is going to bring us back to more of a sense of unity. I feel that's happening actually with certain things that are coming up. It's more of an energy of bringing us back to our oneness and our awareness of oneness and our unity, where we've in the last few years been particularly divided over many issues in the world. We're now being shown a few things that are bringing us back together. So surrender, I think, is a very good energy and a very good card for us to have this week. And if you've got issues where you feel like you need to speak your truth, which can also come up in Venus retrograde, with someone, sometimes we're actually now being asked to just stop and pause and think whether that's actually the right course of action, or whether we need to just reflect a bit more and actually find a different way to deal with the situation. Because although it's good sometimes to speak our truth with someone and perhaps set a boundary, depending on the situation, sometimes that doesn't work out to be the best scenario. And just stepping back and waiting a little bit longer, sometimes we get an answer that is a little better for the situation and both parties involved. So again, I think surrender is probably good. And if you can see that with the light very well, sorry. It's a rather beautiful picture of a female figure completely surrendering in the night sky in the cosmos with the moon shining. And actually it's got the two kind of Venn diagram circles there with that overlap, and her hair actually flowing through the centre part where there's a joining. So again, I feel like that's kind of depicting a little bit of the unity consciousness that we've been discussing. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed the catch-up on this raw video, and if you want to follow daily the asteroid exploration that I've been doing, you can, if you haven't already, join my Facebook page, Black Gold Alchemy Astrology for a New Dawn, where I've been outlining a different asteroid every day. They're very interesting energies, the asteroids. Some of them, of course, are quite small, some are quite large, some are very far away, and some are nearer Earth. But they all carry an energetic imprint, and they can always add an interesting flavour to our charts, or particularly what's going on in the current cosmos, and how that's affecting us personally in our natal or progress charts. So they are quite interesting, and a lot of them carry mythological energies and stories with them as well, particularly where they've been named after mythological figures of the past in the great traditions. Anyway, I'm wishing you such a beautiful week ahead. I can't even remember what day now. It's Monday, yes. So a beautiful week ahead, and remember, surrender and just go with the flow as much as you can, and try not to be too thrown off by everything that's going on around you if you can remain that anchor, that center point within your own heart center, then that's going to be of huge benefit right now. But we are getting through this together and supporting each other, hopefully, through all that's going on, and developing a new oneness and understanding. So sending you so much love for your day and your week ahead. Thank you so much for watching.